Nutrisystem. I can't see shit.
This is the new me. Old me. New me. Lose up to 18 pounds in your first
month.
New me. App Nutrisystem. Act now and save 50% off a month of food and shakes. Go online or call 877-704.
I'm about to play that game again.
50% on a month of food and shakes. I'm here to tell you about saving money on your cellular service. All right, here you have Pepsi coffee from the same pot. These are more expensive. This one, just $1. Which would you buy? It's simple, right? That's why thousands of people have switched to Pure Talk. They use the same network as the larger providers. That's right. The same network for much less.
Who's playing?
Who's playing? 6 gigs of data. Look at these stats. The average family saves over $70 a month by switching to Pure Talk.
He's playing the Division 2 League, Red. Oh, Red? I'm gonna go find out all the way at the top of the stairs, find out who Red is. See if you lying. You know what, you was lying.
Because it's on the same network as the larger providers. Saving is easy. Dial pound 250 and say Pure TV to save 50% off your first month. Pure Talk. Simply smarter wireless.
Red.
At GoToBank, we're for the go-to people in life. That's why we created the ultimate banking app. Easy to use and no monthly fees with direct deposit.
Do I get free ATMs?
Pay my bills? Yes and yes.
Cryptocurrency, everybody's saying.
Open an account at gotobank.com.
Old decay. Teeth. This shit I won't use you anyway.
We don't stop this thing.
I told you a lot. Like an immigrant.
Originals coming in April. A Fox Nation exclusive.
Last week, the New York Times
published a story entitled "A Vexing Question for Democrats: What Drives Latino Men to Republicans?" As we said at the top of the show, this is an important question. It's an absolutely real phenomenon. It's really interesting. It'll change American politics. But the New York Times is so dishonest at this point, such an out-in-the-open political operation, that the paper literally blames right-wing misinformation for the shift. Here's a verbatim quote. Some of the frustrations voiced by Hispanic Republican men are stoked by misinformation, including conspiracy theories claiming that the deep state took over during the Trump administration, and a belief that Black Lives Matter protests caused widespread violence. End quote. In other words, they thought BLM destroyed entire neighborhoods in Minneapolis, Kenosha, St. Louis, Louisville, Washington. They didn't realize it was QAnon that did that. Candace Owens is an author and commentator and a smart person. So why can't Hispanic men just accept that it was QAnon that totaled Minneapolis? Like, it's not hard, just believe.
Can I just take a moment?
QAnon is what he calls conspiracy theory.
The New York Times available to think for Hispanic people and to think for Black Americans and to do the thinking, because, I mean, God forbid we have these Hispanic men and women walking around trying to think for themselves. Fortunately, we have these pedantic articles that look at them and say, let me explain to you what happened. And by the way, Tucker, don't you dare believe your lying eyes. I know all summer we saw churches being burned to the ground in Washington, D.C. We saw Target being rioted, cars smashing into retail shops, taking things. We saw Richard Brooks attack a police officer, and in response, they burned a Wendy's to the ground in Atlanta. Remember that story? We saw this all summer for weeks on end in response to George Floyd protests.
I can't cover this right now.
It never happened, Tucker. It never happened.
If you or anyone who has thoughts of suicide, like Meghan Markle said she did years ago, there are certainly people who can help. Here in the United States, call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273.
Suicide isolation? You know, sort of that. Isolation from your own relatives. I started that. Driven off the cliff by your own relatives. Because they're still leather jackets. You know, sort of that. Orphans you date that don't like them.
Minneapolis police officer charged in the death of George Floyd.
This is what it's like wearing regular shoes. No all-around support.
What about for a broken foot? What for a broken foot that people do Pizza Hut on?
It's good to have support. Try Skechers Arch, podiatrist certified arch support.
Your logo can identify your company, inspire your customers, and energize your team.
Oh man, I got a backpack. You know how a backpack.
Moments that matter.
You're still in high school. You're 45 years old. You're damn near a senior citizen in high school.
For certain.
I guess so.
Products that give you a sort of white smile. Try new Crest Whitening Emulsions for 100% whiter teeth. Its highly active peroxide droplets swipe
Go
on and stay
down.
better.
Yeah,
Faster,
that means.
100% whiter teeth. CrestWhiteSmile.com.
Renee is not an influencer. She's more of a groundbreaker. Renee runs with us on a job.
Granny for
Because out here, you can't
she's
fake
saying
a job.
right here. She's saying
You're Renee.
free money, free money.
TracFone Wireless gives you more control. Just swap your SIM card. You can also keep your phone, keep your network, keep your number.
And CAS systems, of course. CAS systems.
This is your wake-up call.
Yeah, the CAS system. Don't forget about that. And then the CAS system within that, seriously. Like, excuse me, that's you wrong. Yeah, you wrong.
The story of late night, coming this spring.
Alright.
It all starts with an
Yeah, there's
invitation
the wrong joke.
to experience Lexus. To have the utmost confidence. To know you're connected to everything. What starts with an invitation becomes an experience.
Cars
The
turn
invitation
garbage.
is always open, but the offers only
All
last till
cars
March
turn
31st.
garbage.
Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer.
Not the smoker. Yeah, I was like, not the smoker. Shit, I'm trying to catch me a fish put on the grill. That's funny. That's sort of not anyway. Dig it in the head.
There was confusion today in a Minneapolis courtroom in what was supposed to be the beginning of the trial of a former Minneapolis police officer in the death of George Floyd last spring. Prosecutors had wanted to halt that jury selection until an appeal could be heard over reinstatement of another charge, third-degree murder. Thus far, an appeals court hasn't issued a ruling on that request, and the judge ruled the jury selection would begin tomorrow while that appeal is ongoing. Former officer Derek Chauvin is
It won't
charged
stop.
with
It
second-degree
won't stop.
murder and second-degree manslaughter.
It won't